You are welcome inside the locker room. If you just joined us, you were just in time for 45 minutes of pure sporting heaven. So, you're welcome to be a part of the conversation as always on all our social media platforms. And by the way, you're joined by Mairo-Ese and Kayode, and of
Yes.
course, the enigmatic Tega Supreme, Tega Tiger. Good morning.
Good morning.
No, Tega, no. This wasn't the plan.
After all this, all the
She
accolades,
was so cheerful this morning, and she
Yeah, then I
said,
met people.
"Oh, rich people."
Wow, people so annoying. Good morning, Lagos. I'll try.
Thank you. All right, Lagos. If you'd like to join the conversation this morning, you can go onto YouTube. We're streaming live. It's Smooth 981 on YouTube. So search for us there, and you will find us and follow us. And then on Twitter, we are at Smooth 981 FM. Use the hashtag Freshly Pressed 981.
freshly pressed.
Locker Room 981.
There we go.
I leave the studio. Stand up, stand up.
I'm sorry.
Goodbye.
Locker Room 981, please. And then you can send your messages to WhatsApp 0809 444
Okay, so let's start with the Super Eagles. This one's a bittersweet one for me. But it says here Nigeria's Super Eagles will battle the indomitable Lions of Cameroon for a place in the quarterfinals after the defending champions finished second in their group. Now, the arrangement for the tournament that had 24 teams for the first time pitched the runners-up of Group B against the runners-up of Group F. Nigeria surprisingly finished second behind Madagascar in Group B, and that also had Guinea. Well, that group also had Guinea and Burundi, while Cameroon finished behind Ghana in Group F.
Yes, this is well, let me put it this way. This is what happens when you don't win your matches that you're supposed to win. But what
Who
yeah,
have played? Sorry, they talk.
Congo.
Oh,
Which would have been an
Congo
easy
that
ride.
Congo that managed to scrape and struggle and make it to the final. Let me. I know a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, Ghana was always going to be tough." Da, 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 da. I don't think Ghana has played particularly well here. In fact, let me tell you the truth. I thought we had a way better chance of beating Ghana every day of the week with this Ghanaian team. It was that easy. Think about it. Winning. They drew their first two games, and yes, yesterday they won, but it was more quality of opposition than anything spectacular they eventually did. So I wasn't. I really did think that, yeah, if Nigeria had pulled Ghana, it wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Only for Ghana to go on and win, and then Cameroon and Benin Republic. I don't know what they were doing to each other, but they couldn't score. At the end of the day, it is now the Cameroonians that are facing Nigerians. And if you say, yeah, if Cameroon couldn't beat Benin, how would they beat Nigeria? The question really is, Cameroon had qualified already before that final game. That game was just them dancing around. So I wouldn't say they put their best foot forward, and even if they didn't, even if they did and they still didn't get the goal, it was really just a more a bad day in the office than the character of the team. So it is Cameroon that I see that is going to face Nigeria. They will beat Nigeria physically first before they even get to tactical, and that's the beginning of the problem. Your biscuit boned defenders that are sending mixed apologies on Twitter are the ones that are playing in that defense. Whether it's any one of Omero, Balogun, or Trustekol, physically, are they a good matchup against these Cameroonian people? They look like wrestlers, so they're not even playing around. And then you look at your midfield, where if you exhale, Mikel Obi will topple over. That's the so physically. First, I don't even think they're competition for this Cameroonian side before I start talking about tactically. So it's going to be a grueling match. Super Eagles still have a chance to come across again. This is a tournament and anything can happen. But it's just why take the stairs when you can take the elevator is my own point. I don't like hard work.
I don't like hard work either. Well, I do if it makes sense. But if you
Not
could
this
have,
type of hard
yeah, if you could have gotten it, easier, then why put us through this? And then no, it's not even about them alone, Tega. It's the fans. You're taking us through so much. All right, let's go on to tennis, and hopefully we have some, something better to look forward to there. Oh, not really. So Federer loses first set, then Rose at Wimbledon. So after losing the first set against an opponent playing his first tour level match on grass, Roger Federer got back to normal yesterday at Wimbledon. Federer shrugged off an early defeat to beat Lloyd Harris of South Africa 3-6, 6-1, 6-2, 6-2 on centre court at the All England Club in London, beginning his quest for a record-extending ninth Wimbledon title.
Yes. So it didn't look a smooth Roger Federer start, especially. I mean, yeah, you losing to Lloyd Harris, from South Africa, who we hadn't heard of pretty much till yesterday. So the first set was really tricky, and it wasn't just the fact that Roger was struggling with his own serves, but he wasn't even reading Lord Harris's serves. Unfortunately for Harris, the problem with most of those players is that sometimes you exert so much energy and skill and decorum in the first set, and then you can't sustain that momentum all through the match. And that's what the problem with some lower ranked players are, and that's how Roger Federer was able to defeat them. But it was not smooth sailing by Roger Federer. If you watched him, you will know that when he comes up against anybody with any kind of resume, he would struggle. So it's not looking good for a Roger Federer that I expect that on grass at least he will do best. But he's not the only one that has struggled on grass.
Who struggled?
Good personality Dominic Thiem is out. Yes, so that he'll go and continue speaking in the small press conference room. He'll be all right last. I've told him this thing is about winning matches. You don't win matches, you don't get airtime, my friend. You're relegated to the back. But he was soundly beaten. Struggled a lot through the game. I think I saw all of that game, and Sam Querrey came from one set down to beat him. Sam Querrey doesn't have a lot in his arsenal apart from his big serves and forehands, maybe. But for a Dominic Thiem that has so much more and coverage, positioning, and the rest, it seemed he was second guessing himself. It seemed something was not right. First of all, it started with his tactics in the head, and before you start talking about his execution. But Sam Querrey will be very happy that whatever it was that was happening to Dominic Thiem, he has won. So Dominic Thiem is out. Sasha Zverev too, also out in the first round. Naomi Osaka, gone.
She's gone.
First game, and so some people are saying, oh, there's something. Putintseva particularly knows how to beat Naomi Osaka.
Wow.
This is the third time they are meeting, and it's the third time this woman is beating Naomi Osaka. She knows exactly what to do to frustrate Naomi Osaka. Naomi Osaka plays big, and Putintseva uses the power in Naomi Osaka's shots to beat her, and it's just simply it. And I think for Naomi Osaka, especially in this particular match, it was as if every time she lost a point, she was thinking, oh, there we go again. Not, okay, I could have done this better. Yeah. And I that's where it is. She has to get it out of her head when she's playing against this particular opponent, as opposed to coming into the game and thinking, maybe if I can try harder. And then, of course, she showed her bad behavior by walking off when they asked her. It was not a difficult question, but what is really wrong? Do you perhaps...
It was too emotional for her now.
Wait, hey. I've not said before that I'm a nice person. I've never said it. But all of you that were saying Naomi Osaka is smooth and sweet and humble and kiki, she has revealed. I've said this thing before. If you play sports, it will take you only 2 minutes to reveal your true nature. You can't package humility for long.
You cannot blame a girl for being under pressure once in a while.
But people are always looking for good losers. Gracious loser, no.
Let's get to our messages. Don't forget, it's 0809-444-0981.
So Chiwenasi says, to Nigeria. Chiwe, you made me say that. Anyway, if they top the group, they will be playing Congo. I like the fact that the Super Eagles will be playing Cameroon, a tougher team. Maybe that will make them raise their game, unlike when they underrated Madagascar and lost woefully to them. Can Okocha be invited to the team just in case there's a free kick to play against Cameroon?
Wow. All right, let's talk about Andy Murray, shall we? But before we do that, don't forget you also can... we're going on a quick break first, but let's take this message. This one says, if Messi had played for Nigeria, we would have won the World Cup by now. Neymar not playing for Brazil is a blessing because they play a more open football. Tega, please take a moment to talk about Alisson Becker, Van Dijk, Messi, and Alisson for Ballon d'Or. This is Nathan and Joker from Kirikiri Town.
I don't have time to fan your Liverpool whatever it is you're doing. I'm not talking about Alison Becker. I'm not talking about Virgil van Dijk. I'm not even talking about anybody in Liverpool.
All right. Okay. So Morgan Uviase on YouTube says, Tega dancing is a surprise. Wondering what she's getting jiggy to. Argentina did not disappoint at all, and England met the hurricane in the form of USA. And Ajoku Ikena says, the Super Eagles will struggle against the Cameroonians. Those guys' bones don't match, and we are don't mature. And we're busy forming Nigerian branch of Arsenal FC, playing Ajebo football. Well, I just hope we get a good result. We hope so too, Ikenda. All right, we're going to break right now. When we come back, we'll continue with more stories, more sports, and hopefully take our dancing a bit more on YouTube season. Mercy, they said that who is the fine girl in the studio? They said Ikenna, shout out to Ikenna, says, Auntie Tega, please, who is the other fine auntie taking pictures in the studio? Help me say hi to her. See, why you found it? Come, let them see it. Let them come and say hi to your fans, please.
I can't see the princess from here.
Okay, I guess that's more. That's already. Mercy, will you come and say hello to your fans? Thank you. That's how we bully them. We bully her.
Hi, guys.
No, you're not here. Are you here? Okay, yeah.
We can see you now.
Okay. Tega, why are you running away? You people, we always try to bring Tega in front of the camera. Where? She will still go and hide behind the camera. So why don't you and I encourage dear Tega to come and talk to her fans? She's proud, like Naomi Osaka.
This is how you listen to
Yep, I've always said it.
And she doesn't play sports.
If Tega is to
True
play
nature.
sports,
True nature.
she'll have one bodyguard here. She'll have a bodyguard there.
No,
I want to carry.
I've never been humble about
Yeah.
I'm good.
Oh my
Don't like you cry
goodness.
me
Oh my
I don't have time for all
goodness.
that rubbish. She's so humble. She's so sweet. Rubbish. Me that I know the game. And that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to pitch her against Serena, like bad behavior Serena, well behaved Naomi Osaka, Ashamge. There's nobody that has won before that likes to lose. Even Roger Federer has a bad attitude when he loses.
No, Roger is perfect.
Every day
He
of
always
the
has a
week.
good smile.
Every day.
He always has a very good smile.
Which Roger Federer?
The same one now.
This one that I'm watching. Are you high? Roger Federer that sat in the court with his children up there was telling the ref, you beeping, I'm beeping, talk to you, and you were beeping, all through the match because he was losing. This Roger Federer. You don't know Roger Federer. It's not nice. It's when he would have gone to press conference. By that time, he would have showered.
Yes,
Then he will package his answer.
Roger.
But on that court, when he told the referee, the umpire, when I'm talking to you, you answer.
Really? He said
Yes.
so?
So when I'm talking to you, answer me.
I still
I
love
was
him though.
asking-
You're from Nadal team.
No.
You're connected with
I love him.
Nadal.
I just know who he is. You love one fictional character. I love the real Roger Federer, the nasty one, the good one.
It's hard to believe he's nasty.
He's all of the above. There's nobody that likes winning that likes losing.
Yeah, of course.
I've never seen it.
Except for Nigerian team.
No, the only grace, the only how do you call it? The only good loser or what they call it.
Hey, let's see your face now. Come near Ayo. They say you people can you see? It's not my fault. They'll think I'm a bully.
You can pull that light mic down. Maybe they can.
You can
see your
search
face.
Google. Remove your hand before
Thank you. Kindly.
This is radio.
Are you ready?
So,
Okay, I can't say. What's the next story? Me. Okay.
the next.
What's the next story? What's the next story? So we've literally done only 2 stories. Okay, Papa now because there are many stories to be done. I was going to say the best loser I've seen,
98.1.
Rafa Nadal. Always respectful, always humble. So, yeah.
And this is Smooth 98.1. Your love music, love life station. Also love sports. And Tega is here in the locker room with us as we share some sporting stories with you. Kayode Baker.
And of course, I am Mairo-Ese right here. Don't forget you, Lagos, are also welcome to be a part of the conversation. Once again, it's 0809-444-0981. We see those messages. We'll get to them just in a little bit. Let's talk about Andy Murray, right? He's to partner, Serena Williams in Wimbledon mixed doubles. Now, Britain's Andy Murray has confirmed he will play mixed doubles with Serena at Wimbledon, and basically, uh, well, they're saying that the pair are expected to play their first match together on Thursday.
Okay, so this is interesting because at first Andy Murray was even wondering if he should be playing mixed doubles. So I think maybe himself and Serena just walked by themselves in training, because I did see that video of Venus talking to Andy Murray and welcoming him back on tour. So it was probably, oh, do you want to play mixed doubles? Oh yes, I do. I don't think they're really pushing that they're going to win that. I think Serena is going to be more focused on her singles, and Andy Murray is going to be more focused on the men's doubles. But what it is that if Serena was available, Andy Murray was willing. Let's do this. That's what it is. But it's an interesting matchup, and what doubles really does for a singles player is it helps your game and how you position yourself all around the court. So I think that's what Serena and her coach Mairo-Ese will be looking at, as opposed to trying to really push for that title. If they get it, they will take it. It's not like they won't be professional about their sport. They're not Nick Kyrgios. But I think it's more of an opportunistic pairing than a real thing.
Let
that
me
they seem
ask
to.
probably an obvious question, but forgive my tennis knowledge.
Yeah.
But how do you? Is it just a random picking? You don't pick from a hat or anything. You're the one who chooses your partner.
Yes.
Okay, so you don't you talk to someone.
Yeah. If I don't like you, why would I want to play with pick you out?
So Nadal can just say he wants to play with Osaka.
Yeah,
Just
he can
like
play
that.
with. He can literally anybody can pick anybody.
What has been the most iconic pairing?
I
Which
think
has
Martina
been-
Hingis and Federer for me.
yeah. Of course,
That was for me. That was the biggest deal.
Did they win?
Yeah, they did.
I think it should be obviously one.
But sometimes two great players, just like how two beautiful people don't always give birth to a beautiful.
Ah, you had to go there. Next story.
All right, let's go to the next story. The Netherlands did not expect to be in the semi-finals. European champions Netherlands did not expect to be in the semi-finals of the World Cup, says Vivian Miedema. Striker Miedema said, "We have done amazing and we can be really proud. We have been complaining a lot and we have not played the best football. But in the end, we're in the semis."
Yeah, oh, she's totally right, and part of that goes to her, especially in the last two matches. She was always in the right place at the right time to just slot the ball in the back of the net, and become record scorer. She's only 22. And Arsenal men, that's an Arsenal lady shining for her country. Not just mentioning that these things are not as but it's amazing what the Dutch have done, and the Dutch take on the Swedes today, the Swedes that stunned the world by beating Germany. So it'll be an interesting match, of course. Yesterday was a fantastic day. I know we're going to get to that eventually, but what this World Cup has done is showcase what women's football really is, because a lot of people hadn't paid much attention to women's football, and this World Cup has just shown that it is beautiful, it is attractive. There are people that are interested in it, because I think there were about 53,000 people in the stadium yesterday, and it wasn't the host country that was involved. The host country has already gone home. Oh, you want to compare that with AFCON? Let's not even go there. But
Tega, you're the one that said you won't do a comparison.
I will try not to do a comparison. But it just shows that there's interest and that there's good football. And what is most important to me now is that brands are seeing those numbers and the content and saying, okay, maybe it's time to start putting our money in women's football. So FIFA Women's World Cup has fulfilled the purpose of FIFA Women's World Cup, which is to showcase women's football. And I'm certain that Europe will take full advantage of what the Women's World Cup has done. What I don't know is how Africa will react.
I hope we'll step up to the plate.
Hopefully.
We're here.
Hopefully. Let's talk about Phil Neville still, Women's World Cup. Phil Neville says his England women's side are knocking on the door of World Cup finals, but still have a way to go to the match best, basically. And given what happened yesterday, I don't know. I really wanted England to win.
You'll be all right. You and Phil Neville. People should go and hug each other and cry on the losers' bus. But people like us that were winning, all I do is win, no matter what. But we were so happy. But here was all of this. Here's what I have come to realize about Jill Ellis as a coach. It is the game management. It is fantastic. So she has this moment where her team is pressing and pushing for goals. And then for the next 5 minutes, they are containing. and frustrating. And so they manage, so they're not the most athletic,
side.
like, I mean, the English players, you could tell that they had stamina, they had pace, they could run. So they're very athletic. It's not exactly the same for the American players. And like Scott Morgan, you know, she's a bit like Neymar. If you excel in a direction again, she will somersault. So, but you can tell they're not the most physically strong, but they know how to manage their game, so they're not setting so much, and they can go for as long as they need to. They also know how to contain. And so when they were under pressure with England, it was their movement of the ball that was very impressive, which is something that is lacking with African football. They're anticipating the moves, they're closing, covering the spaces, but they're also marking the men. So the women, I know some people get angst about that. And when Phil Neville said, "Oh, England was 10 men down," everybody was like, "They're 10 women down." Men, let's be all right. Okay, 10 human beings, if that makes us feel better. But what it is, they're closing the space, and they're also marking the player that they're supposed to mark. And so it's amazing what they can do tactically. I'm not even going to go into how well the players themselves technically are good, but tactically it's what Jill Ellis was able to do that has gotten the American team here. This is not the best performance by any American team I've seen. It's just the most
effective,
the most well organized, I will put it that way. And you can tell that they look at their opponents, they plan, they strategize. And America, remember, did not have their best player. Rapinoe has been struggling with an injury, and they haven't been telling the press. So when they substituted her in the last game, people were wondering why they did that. Maybe it's because they wanted to defend more, and that's why they brought in press. But she didn't start this game, and they didn't say she's injured. They just said they're changing tactics. So they're going to continue messing up with you psychologically, because you know that at any point in time, if Megan Rapinoe enters this game, it can just light up. She didn't play at all, so I'm certain that she's struggling with something. But it's the way that she's managing. Jill Ellis is managing her players on the bench and her players on the team, and then her team also doing the work they're supposed to do. England did very well. Unfortunately for them, in the big moments that they needed to show up, which was when they had that penalty. And Houghton would, on a normal day, Houghton would score that goal. I know I'm amongst those that said White should have taken the shot, but normally Houghton would score that goal. But if you watch the penalty again, she didn't really, after she ran up to the ball, she didn't really kick the ball. She didn't really connect with the ball.
No power to it.
Yes, she didn't even really connect. So you could tell that she kind of brushed over the ball instead of with the side of her foot, like she would normally do. It was almost like the bottom of her boots brushed the ball towards. And so now I was like, thank you very much. It was nice doing business with you. I just caught the penalty. But it was a fantastic display. I saw US France and I said, that should be the finals. I've seen England USA and I'm saying this should be the finals. So I'm wondering what the finals would really look like.
Is it safe to say that the US will win the World Cup again?
They look likely, but because of the way the Swedes and the Dutch have set up again, they are also very tactically good. It's a coin toss at this point in time for me. I don't know who's going to win it.
All right, thank you very much. Let's take a few comments. James from Marine Beach says Nigeria is out. Cameroon that likes to bully us, we are out.
Joe Nancy says, Tega, you didn't talk about that 15-year-old who sent Venus Williams home. Please help me tell Venus to honorably retire to avoid further embarrassment by these small girls.
Chinwe Nancy, I will not tell Venus Williams to retire. She'll retire when she wants to retire, because she's playing because she enjoys it, not because she needs to prove to anybody that she can still win. She's already won Grand Slams. She's fine.
All right. So Chimobi Victor says, for all those that are thinking these so-called Super Eagles of Nigeria will defeat the Cameroon, they should wake up to reality, because this is not a qualifier. Oh my goodness. You guys are coming in hard for our team. Wimbledon 2019 has been a surprise though. I guess it means there's always room for the others to shine. Even the Venus lookalike whooped her. Tega Sona, Tai Chi, them use beats Naomi. We're here to enjoy watching the AFCON matches. I aim for any team, Biko. All right, we've got a break. When we come back, we have a lot more comments to go on to take, and maybe one story before we call it a morning.
Yeah, literally one story.
So we had loads of comments. That's why I want to take some before going on.
Okay, let's do Copa America. I didn't mind. I even wanted to take one more before we go on break. So we'll do the Copa America and then we'll go to the comments.
YouTube, you people.
Listen to music with four plays.
Man,
I'm not going to tell anybody to go away,
Argentina's
Jerry.
not going to win anything. At this rate.
Quality connection that always delivers because it's more than just data. It's more
Hey, what do you mean?
Oh, which team bashed Thailand again?
It was US 13 nil.
Jesus.
And that's what's tricky. So when they've been scoring freely. When they've not been scoring, they've been stopping people from scoring. So they're the perfect team. Well, them and the Swedes. So it'll be nice to see them versus the Swedes in the finals. That would be a really good final. But let's see if the Dutch allows the Swedes, because Madema is not playing. It's a really fantastic. I mean, yesterday I didn't even care what was happening in AFCON. Sorry, after Cameroon match, what was my business with them?
So who is still in AFCON?
I will have to read the newspaper, but I can tell you who's at the World Cup. No, everybody else is still there. Everybody that needs to be there, and of course,
when is the endurance match, please?
Saturday.
Okay.
I don't even know. Again, but I know it's Saturday. I don't care what it is. Yes, now there's a break today and tomorrow. Then the next first set of matches start on Friday.
They could have won that match anyway. They couldn't have won. There was nothing they could have done.
There was a lot they could have
done.
There
was no idea. No, there
was a lot they could have done. The first thing they could have done when they got on the pitch is not to think that they're playing Madagascar. And that's the first thing was that they're looking at those people and they're saying, hey, I like to move it. They did not know that those people were going to play them ball. So I think that was the first thing. And then when the boys started playing ball, they couldn't even raise their game. You know how if somebody rushes you in a fight, you can't win the fight.
Yeah, you're already blind.
Yeah, you can't win the fight. Anything you are doing is reactionary.
Hi, my name is Corey, and I'm going to tell you.
So that's what happened today. So that was the first thing. It's not like tennis. The reason why people recover is because they have those few minutes where they can sit down. In that changeover time, they can analyze, they can think. You know, when they go and take all those toilet breaks, it's not all of them that are going to pee. Sometimes they're just going to wash their face and talk to themselves in the mirror. They can't do that. You know, but when you come back and they bamboozle you slap, it'll be very hard to recover. But let's see. They're not so bad. It's just that Raw can do a lot better. A lot better. Are we ready?
Already.
So next story for I'll cut it.
That's right. You're listening to Smooth Breakfast. If you just joined us, you've missed a ton of things, but you're just in time for the final few minutes.
Yes, now let's go on to Copa America. Messi launches tirade at ref after Copa loss. Argentina captain Lionel Messi blasted the officiators after the team's 2-0 loss to Brazil in the Copa America semi-finals and knocked them out of the tournament.
Okay, yes. First of all, he was to complain about how the referees made the small calls and how they stopped looking at VAR. Again, it's not everything. There's some things that are not for you to go to VAR. Things like offside is straight up. It's not a debatable issue. You can debate penalties. You can debate red cards. But except it's a major, those kind of decisions. And ultimately, I still think that at the end of the day, it came down to the better team. Like I said on Monday, Brazil was the better team. You can mention a few star players in Argentina, but usually those players are Argentina is top heavy. So you mention the names of those players, and they're largely up front. Who is in the midfield? Who is in defense? Those are the questions you need to ask. And that's where Argentina has struggled from 2014, if you ask me. And I said they're not going to win this Copa America. This team is done. It's time to bring in new blood, fresh blood that can play ball and forget all this nonsense because it's not happening. So yes, you can complain about the refereeing if you want to, but Brazil beat them fair and square, first to every ball, more lethal in the 18-yard box. And most importantly for Brazil, even when Argentina did make one or two threats, the defense and the goalkeeper were up to scratch, which is not the same thing you can say for the Argentines. And so at the end of the day, the better team won. Messi go home and cry me a river. Everybody should be crying me a river now.
Cry you a river.
It feels like he's never going to win anything with that team.
He has already won Olympic gold medal.
Olympic gold medal.
Yes, you can be
with the
okay. Yeah, you can be okay.
Let's go
He doesn't
to
need to
few
win anything
comments.
else.
Oh, our time is fast spent. So we have Tohiba on WhatsApp saying Madagascar defeated the deterrent to Super Eagles, so they'll take the match against Cameroon so seriously.
Okay.
Unless they already decided to crash out early, but Raw should not start Mikel again, no.
Okay.
That Asian boy says, Tiger, what happened to you? You started on a low key this morning. You're making me feel guilty. Is it the wing of chicken I promised you but not fulfilled? Don't worry, cheer up. Better go soon land. I'm promising you a plate of starch and garnished owl soup for your enjoyment. Wow, people, all right. I thought, wow,
All right.
Thank you. Final comment here, Zizi Classic says, I guess Cameroonian players worked against the England side last night. After all, what comes around goes around. Argentina is the biggest flop team of all time. Feeling pity for Messi.
That is arguably true. All right, Lagos. Well, there you have it. That's all we can give you today on our locker room. But you know what? The fun never ends here with us at the Smooth Station, because coming up after this, it's going to be Lagos Talks 981. But before that, you can catch Tega up on social media to keep up with the conversation, and she's at Tega Supreme on Twitter. And also, if you want to get to know what's happening with ladies in sports, it's at LIS
International conference coming up later this month. So please go on there, register. It's free to register, and it's a fantastic one. So please do that.
All right, Lagos, stay close.
People are upsetting me.
Who's upsetting you?
Every single person. I can't do this.
Every fighter